This week's round of Premier League fixtures lived up to expectations with Manchester City and rivals United taking part in a 5-goal classic. Everton's Merseyside derby clash with Liverpool did not entertain neutrals however as the duo played out a goalless draw. Here, Sportsmail gets the fans' verdicts following the latest weekend of action. Everton Joel Parker, Toffee analysis after being completely outplayed for 70 minutes by their reserves, I feel somehow distraught we didn't grab a winner late on. If Mohamed Salah was on the pitch, I'm certain it'd be 2-3 by halftime but Liverpool lacked a finisher which allowed us into the game. Virgil van Dijk's heroic touch on the ball denying Cenk Tosun to slide in was painful, but the fact our Turkish striker didn't head the ball in for a famous winner still confuses me. Overall, glad we didn't lose but gutted we didn't win against our rivals who had one eye on midweek and gave us the best chance to beat them for a century. Starman, Michael Keane. Liverpool David Usher. The Liverpool way a week ago Kopits were unfairly accusing Everton of rolling over and giving Man City an easy ride ahead of their trip to Anfield. Wait and see the difference in them next week they said. Turns out the Blues are just rubbish. Liverpool weren't much better on Saturday, but the Reds have much bigger fish to fry so that was almost to be expected. It was the tamest derby in years with a severely weakened Liverpool not really even wanting to be there, and Everton still couldn't win. Starman, Jorginho Wijnaldum Bournemouth Peter Bell, Cherry chimes. It's becoming a regular pattern for Bournemouth to make a comeback. This one was less predictable when Palace sped into a 2-1 lead with second-half goals from Luka Milivojevic and Wilfried Zaha, but Bournemouth's super subs did the business with Lee Smoosid netting a fabulous strike and Josh King stabbing home in the 89th minute. More memorable though was Callum Wilson's hat-trick of misses, Asmir Begovic's outstanding save against Patrick Van Aanholt and the tireless running of Ryan Fraser. Starman, Ryan Fraser Crystal Palace J. Crame, the Eagles' beak. Good point any other time of the season but Palace should have taken all three so it is a real feeling of 2 points dropped. Having said that, the point keeps us in contention and the fact remains, survival is in our own hands. Win our home games, we stay up, it is that simple. The disappointment was to be pegged back twice in the second half of this game and without a recognized striker leading the line. Starman, Wilfried Zaha Brighton Simon Cox, Brighton fans another very frustrating afternoon at the Amex. But at least we didn't lose. We were cruising until Shane Duffy's very uncharacteristic error. After that we lost the midfield but still had plenty of chances. Jose Izquierdo made 3 stupid mistakes with the goal at his mercy and looked lazy. That is unacceptable. The officials were clowns again, but we can only blame ourselves for this poor performance. Starman, Lewis Dunk Huddersfield Harry Greenwood, he's better than Klopp. A far more entertaining affair than the 1-1 scoreline suggests, as both sides tried to win the game in order to push them towards safety. Brighton started the stronger, and opened the scoring through a fortunate rebound from the otherwise excellent Jonas Lossell. The hosts however gifted Town an equaliser, our first bit of luck in a long time. Steve Mounty made no mistake. From then on, both sides had chances to win the game, with Lossell making a number of excellent saves, and Lewis Dunk blocking a number of Town shots at the other end before Davy Proper saw red. A promising display, but only a point when we desperately need 3. Starman, Alex Pritchard Leicester Warwick K. LCFC World. Another disappointing home result for Leicester after 2 away victories in a row. The Foxes just didn't offer anything going forward against an extremely organised Newcastle side. The second goal we conceded was just dreadful. Lots of sideways passing and terrible crossing in 7th spot seems to be slipping away with Burnley continuing to win. Man, Adrian Silva Newcastle Tambor, Reed Newcastle a third win on the spin, sitting in 10th place with 38 points and comfortably clear of the relegation zone. It's fair to say the mood on Tyneside at the moment is relatively positive. The performance this weekend was one of the most impressive I have seen in a while as a fan. Whilst the quality may have been lacking at times, you cannot fault any of the players for their effort. Every player gave 110% at the King Power Stadium. After another set of fine displays from Jamal Lascelles and Jonjo Shelvey, talk of Gareth Southgate considering the pair for Russia does not seem so far-fetched. Starman, Jonjo Shelvey's took Martin Smith. The oatcake. It's not very often you'll see a team lose their 4th straight game but still be applauded off the field by their supporters at the final whistle, but that's what happened to Stoke. Badounde and Joe Allen were the pick of the Stoke side on a day when we might have taken another step closer to relegation but where we ran ourselves into the ground. Lady Luck deserted Stoke again, especially when Xherdan Shaqiri's shot hit the bar, but that's what happens when you're up against it. All we can do now is hope the players can play like this in our final 5 games. It's our only hope. Starman, Badounde I Tottenham Barnaby Slater, the Football Republic absolutely huge win. It would have been so easy to follow up last week's massive victory at Stamford Bridge with a complacent performance and end up dropping points, But thanks to Christian Eriksen's 2 goals, although Harry Kane is trying to claim one of them, and a gritty if not always fluid performance, it has been an excellent 7 days for Spurs. Man City at Wembley next, in an opportunity to lay down a marker for next season and show that we can be closer next term. Starman, Moussa Dembele, Watford, David Anderson, Golden Pages. Fanzine: our inability to defend set pieces has now lost us 5 points from the past 2 games. After a reasonably comfortable 70 minutes which saw us take a 1-0 lead, Burnley were able to equalise and then go ahead with ease as we simply refused to clear our lines from balls in the box. That might as well have been game over, because the remaining quarter of an hour was filled with time wasting and play acting from the away team. The Sean Dyche that was at Watford years ago would have been disgusted by the antics of the Burnley players. Starman, Will Hughes. Burnley: Tony Scholes, up the Clarets. Burnley continued to break records in the Premier League. It was our 4th successive victory, although we weren't anywhere near our best against a strong and physical Watford side. I don't think many Burnley fans in Vicarage Road expected too much when we fell behind, but we do find different ways to win. And today it was Sam Vokes who came on as a sub and scored with his first touch. From then there was only going to be one winner, although we did have to deal with a late onslaught from the home side. Starman, Nick Pope, who was immaculate in goal. West Brom: Alex Newton, Reed. West Brom: never doubt West Bromwich Albion's ability to snatch a draw or defeat from the jaws of victory. Our best performance in months, and yet Albion again don't come away with all 3 points. That's 26 points dropped from winning positions this season, and it's showing just how spineless and mentally weak this squad are. We're going down without a fight, and it's heartbreaking to see. Good on Darren Moore for entering the poison chalice. A true club hero. Starman, J. Rodriguez. Swansea: Declan Terry, Reed. Swansea: Tammy Abraham equaliser saved Swansea's blushes in what would have been a very demoralising defeat. We were negative from the outset, sitting back and letting West Brom control the game with our 3 in midfield largely ineffective. Salomon Rondon was a handful, and in the one instance where we switched off, the big striker made us pay by flicking a header into J. Rodriguez's path for the goal, although there could be a claim for handball in the build-up to it. Despite how poor Swansea were for most of the game, we nicked a rare goal from a corner through Abraham, who's been absolutely begging for a goal of late, so hopefully that will raise his confidence and he can bag a few more in our remaining fixtures. A point on the road is never catastrophic, however it's a big opportunity missed to gain some breathing space in this tight relegation battle. We're now looking over our shoulders very nervously. Starman, Tammy Abraham. Manchester City: Stephen Weiss, view from a blue. The officials were abysmal and Raheem Sterling's misses were shocking. But more concerning is just how mentally fragile we become when things don't go our way. It's been like this for a while, not just under Pep, that we have vulnerable spells, lose our discipline and ultimately collapse. It cost us in midweek and again on Saturday, and remains the one area Pep needs to focus on moving forward. Still, we'll win the league by 10+ points, playing the best football we have ever seen. So this defeat stings, but it doesn't hurt as it once would have done. Starman, Fernandinho. Manchester United: some people's the people's person, one of the best Manchester derbies you're ever likely to see. Man City collapsed and Jose Mourinho's men dominated the second half, thanks in no small part to a wonderful performance from Paul Pogba. Nobody will be criticising his hair after that performance. Starman, Paul Pogba. Arsenal: Peter Wood, Le Grove. Arsenal made messy work of Southampton, scraping a 3-2 win. Danny Welbeck scored 2, assisted 1, and missed an open goal so wide you could have fit a black hole inside of it. There was also some WWE-like histrionics. Jack Wilshere ripped Jack Stevens' shirt and started a chain reaction that saw 2 players sent to the stands, neither being him. A win is a win. Some breathing space between us and Burnley. Starman, Danny Welbeck, doing a lot with a little talent. Southampton: Amy Adams, Fresh Saints. It's heartbreaking to lose in the closing stages, especially when you've taken the lead early on. But I can stand alongside many Saints fans in saying that Sunday's game was one of the best we've played in a long time. Although the boys narrowly missed out on a draw, it was brilliant to see Shane Long get on the scoresheet alongside newly fit Charlie Austin. But ultimately the reality of this is still just one win in our last 19 fixtures. With only 3 home matches and 3 away games remaining in the season, Saints need to channel the positives from today's performance and move on. Otherwise the championship beckons. Starman, Alex McCarthy. Chelsea: Andy CB, Chelsea daft. An emotional afternoon at the Bridge finished with West Ham taking a share of the spoils to confirm Chelsea's failure to qualify for the Champions League next season. The story of our season has been the fact that we have not been anywhere clinical enough, and once again this game emphasized the point. Joe Hart must take credit for 2 excellent saves late on. On the day Chelsea paid tribute to their youngest ever captain and inspirational leader, It's worth noting there are none here anymore. Starman N'Golo Kante West Ham Michael Oliver, read West Ham after Saturday's favourable results. West Ham's trip to Chelsea was a bit of a free hit knowing they could only move further away from the relegation zone after this round of fixtures. Despite conceding a disappointing goal and fearing the worst, David Moyes' men dug in deep and showed a defensive resiliency with the belief that just maybe they'd get a chance to level late in the game. And that's exactly what happened. The introduction of Chicharito gave the Hammers a prominent attacking threat, and when one chance presented itself he buried it with precision to earn the point. Now 6 points clear of the drop, a win next week at home to Stoke would all but cement our position in the league next season. Starman Javier Hernandez,